Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Wise Guy Cast. This is your Wise Guy Digest, I should say. God damn it, the second week in a row I've messed it up. Apologies, please. Anyway, welcome back to the Wise Guy Cast. Fuck, I keep doing it. Welcome back to the Wise Guy Digest. It's okay, guys. I'm gonna get myself together. I promise. Been another long week, so forgive me. But we shall roll on and continue with episode 7 of the Wise Guy Digest. Bam, nailed it. Anyway, let's get the particulars out of the way. First of all, thanks again to our sponsor, Just Read. We appreciate you for wanting to sponsor our show. All his information, it will be in the description. If you guys are looking for some great t-shirt designs, please go give the brother a follow. Hit him up and he'll hook you up, okay? Next, if you want to listen to this podcast in audio format, remember the links are in the description for that as well. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and on SoundCloud. So you'll always have an option somewhere of getting this podcast in audio form. That way, if you want to play it in your car, on your phone, listening to your headsets as you're traveling to work, on the train, however, you have that option. So there you go. Also, last but not least, we have a Patreon page, which if you want to help support us and help us grow, you can feel free to pledge $1. That's all we're asking for. $1 a month will help us to maintain our site, pay for the hosting of the podcast, get more equipment, pay for web design, all of that. It's not much, but anything helps, and we appreciate anything that you can pledge to us. So thank you in advance to anybody who decides to join. Now, let's move on with this week's digest. So, gaming. As usual during the summers, gaming is not that busy. You don't get much going. If for some reason, I don't know, but for some reason, summer is just that dead zone. Companies just feel like they're going to take the summer off, wait for the fall to have this big rush, which me personally, I don't know how wise that is, because think about all the games that we're going to get layered on top of each other this fall. You have Final Fantasy 15. You have Battlefield 1. You have the new Call of Duty. You have Titanfall 2. You have South Park, The Fractured But Whole. You have the new Watch Dogs game. What else is coming out? There's a couple more. I believe the Gears of War game should be out this fall as well. Yeah, it's a lot going on in the fall. A lot of choices for gamers. And, when you present gamers a lot of choices, while it shows that, hey, gaming is still a big thing, I feel like part of the reason sales kind of fluctuate is because you're throwing everything out at once. Not enough space. Mind you, people seem to grind through games much quicker than they normally did in my day. That being said, people's pockets aren't as deep anymore. So while people will be more than willing to buy these games and play through them, no matter how many there are, they can't necessarily afford them. You know what I mean? And then, of course, you have the PlayStation VR coming out. That's a major product launch, because Sony's treating this as if they're launching a new console. So you have that. You have the VR games coming. It's a lot of stuff in the fall, but summer is that dead zone. Now you're going to get No Man's Sky in a couple of weeks. That's a big release. Of course, Madden, it will be out by the end of August. But that's pretty much it. And then you go back to the beginning of the summer, and there wasn't that much release beyond May. You had April and May releases. You had Uncharted. You had Overwatch and so on. But as far as major releases, they're all packed. Now, this is not to say that we're not getting anything, and this is the argument I make all the time with the gamers today, is that it's not like we don't have anything to play. There are plenty of games coming out. They're just of a smaller scale. But of course, that's not how the gaming community looks at things anymore. As far as a lot of the gaming community in today's world is concerned, if it's not a big AAA high impact title, it doesn't exist. It's not worth your time, etc., etc., which is bullshit. Of course, we all know it's bullshit. Games like Fury and that deserve their due, but they don't get it because, and this is especially true of console players more than anything, people just don't want to consider these small, these small, sorry, for some reason I got a cough, but they don't want to consider these small or mid tier games as being worthy of their attention, of getting a playthrough. Boggles the mind, but you get some really, really good experiences out of those, but they get pushed to the wayside. So therefore, we're in this quote unquote dry season in gaming for a lot of people, and everybody's waiting just for those big names. Me personally, as far as the big $60 purchases, kind of glad that there's nothing out there. There's been a couple of smaller games that I've wanted to check out, but don't have the funds. But I don't mind the break either between that, because there's some stuff that I haven't played before. I've been going through my backlog, clearing out some older games. There's some older games that I might want to pick up. Still haven't played a game like Until Dawn. That's something I've always been interested in. I could pick that up on the low and play through that. I don't have as much time as some people who do the YouTube thing, so I can't go through games like they do. So, you know, but I get in when I can fit in with these games, and there's some older stuff that I would love to pick up and get into. So, you know, there's always something to play. Not everybody can say that they've played everything. Uh, and of course, if you expand your interest a little bit, you will find that there's a lot of stuff out there. I know a lot of people like to say how PC has tons more games, and you know what? You do have a bigger selection because you can go through a um, backlog category that's more extensive. Older games tend to still be viable and able to run on PCs, whereas consoles, there is backwards compatibility, but not everything is compatible. Especially with Sony, as Sony only is doing limited digital releases of older games, and they only have PlayStation Now, which is a subscription based thing, and a lot of people aren't interested in it. So yeah, even with Microsoft and I guess it's getting close to a couple of hundred games now. Maybe, I'm not sure. I know it's over 100 at least for the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One. It's not as deep as PC. That being said, uh, a lot of the indie experiences are coming or have come to console. And when it comes to the newer gaming experience, you see a lot of PC players play those indie games. So console players kind of have the same thing now that PC players do. So the difference is PC players seem to be more willing to embrace those games, whereas for some reason the console mindset is AAA or bust. So I don't know. Uh, I don't know. Perhaps people will realize that there are a lot more things to experience out there than just the next EA or Activision or whatever large publishers next game. But it is what it is. Just some brief news. So Pokemon Go is still going crazy. We're still getting the crazy stories. That's not going to change for a few weeks, I think. I think we're going to still see that go at least a couple of more months at the peak that it is. Beyond that, who knows? It depends really on what Nintendo and the Pokemon Company do with the property and how they push it, what they're going to ask Niantic to do to promote it. Um, they just don't seem to be really stopping anytime soon. That's the crazy thing. A lot of people say it's a flash in the pan, and it may be, it may prove to be, but it's a hell of a flash for the billions of dollars that Nintendo's getting. I would take that damn flash in the pan popularity um, for that success. Seriously. Sony is about to start another beta in August for the next PlayStation 4 update. If you want to sign up, you can just go to, I believe it's the PlayStation.com website. Just want to click on the link just to make sure. Yeah, go to their PlayStation.com, sign up for the beta, and you should be able to at least get the opportunity to try. You may not get in, but hey, it's better to try than not to. I'll try to remember to put the link in the description for anybody who's interested. Speaking of Sony, former Sony exec Adam Boyes has announced where he has left. If you didn't know, Adam Boyes left Sony. She's been about a month, maybe a little less than that, where he announced that he was leaving Sony, going off to other ventures. Well, he's found his venture, and I am totally not surprised. He has signed on to be the CEO of Iron Galaxy Studios, the studio that is currently working on Killer Instinct. They weren't the first, I believe, to, or where Iron Galaxy. No, they weren't. Who was the first? Damn it, I cannot think of who actually made it, and then Iron Galaxy took over. Neither here nor there. That's where Adam Boyes is, and it's not a surprise to me only because Dave Lang, the founder of the studio, him and Boyes go back. Believe they both worked at Midway together, so it kind of, to me, was where I thought he was going to end up landing, and it ended up turning out with me being right to think that it should be good relationship because they're friends, they're buddies. They both have the same types of passions. They should do good things. I'm very interested to see what we're gonna get out of Iron Galaxy from this combo. There's some more NX rumors that have popped out. The whole mobile thing has been quote unquote partially confirmed. Apparently a number of sources have confirmed that it will be a handheld. This was information given to Eurogamer. IGN also says that they have unnamed sources who say the same. There's a concept image that apparently Eurogamer got. Looking at it, it looks like a tablet. Gosh, why am I coughing so much? Dry throat. Jeez. Let's sip some more of this. Yeah, apparently the console. I mean, it looks like one image shows what looks kind of sort of like a gamepad with the Um, cross the crosses on the left with the analog stick, and or is that an analog nub? It looks more like a nub. And then the buttons and another stick or nub on the right, and then it looks like you can detach those from it. Pull out a stand in the back and have the screen sit upright. I don't know. Um, you're also getting the partially confirmed rumor that they're going to actually use cartridges. Uh, I, you know, all these rumors. Let's just wait. Mind you, a lot of stuff gets leaked these days, and I think some of it is like cleverly being done by these companies who want you to hear about some of the stuff so they can test the waters. Uh, I don't know. We'll just see. We'll just we'll we will see what is going to happen. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 are going to come out for the PS4 and the Xbox One this week. I have to see what the price is. Price is going to be $40 for each. God damn it. Or you can get a bundle of both for 60. Well played, Activision. Well played. Because who the fuck? Seriously. God damn them. So fucking lame. Mind you, if you still have an Xbox 360 or a PS3 and you want to play on console, you can get both of those. Well, you may not be able to find Ultimate Alliance, the first one. I know I had a devil of a time finding it. I remember I was looking for a copy back like years ago before the PlayStation 4 Xbox One was even a thing, and I had to go to some mom and pop shop to find a copy for $20. So good luck in that. Of course, you can go PC and get the where did they release on PC? That's a good question. Anybody who knows if they released on PC, let me know. Because if they are out on PC already, get that. Although it's coming to PC, as well. It said, damn, Activision, the hell are you doing? But yeah, it's a cool series. If you haven't played it and you have the money to spend and you don't mind paying the price, hey, do so. I personally think they should have put both of them together for 40, but it's Activision. What are you gonna do? Yeah, because those games are pretty old. I know Ultimate Alliance should be looking pretty rough at this point. It was looking rough when I got it because it was one of the earlier games of last gen within the first 3 years, I believe. But cool games nonetheless. So that's about it for the biggest. Oh, and the No Man's Sky rumors thing. Real quick, a software developer who came up with this code swears that basically Hello Games is using his code in order to do the procedural development of the world. Hello Games denies it. The guy claims that he wasn't really trying to cause trouble. He was just noting that it seemed like it was his. Truth be told, he could say that, and it could be totally false. And it could be at best there were some influences taken from that, because it happens all the time with software development, especially in gaming. Remember the Shadow of the Mordor thing where the guy swore up and down that they stole the code for, I believe it was Assassin's Creed 2, he said. As far as like the jumping and stuff like that mechanic. Thing is, if you have a bunch of people who worked in different places writing code for you, they're going to write something that's going to be similar. It may not be an exact one-to-one thing, and that therein lies the problem. Unless it's an exact one-to-one rip with your stamp on it, you can't necessarily say that. just because it looks familiar, or it looks like it could have been done by your software. So even if he did want to start trouble, he probably shouldn't. There's probably no way that he could even get this to go that far through the court system anyway. So, it's an article that started a buzz for nothing, I think. Um, Hopefully, this is the last bit of drama that No Man's Sky will see before its launch. Now, moving on to sports, we've had a couple of interesting retirements. One in the NBA, Amari Stoudemire announced his retirement today. And to that, I say, you were still playing, yo? Like, seriously, my reaction when I heard that he retired today after signing a 1 day contract with the Knicks so he could retire as a Knick. I had no clue this guy was still in the league. I had thought he had already retired. Um, God knows he hasn't been a productive player in, geez, a good 5 years at least, in my opinion. So it was like he wasn't there anyway. But 14 years, he had a decent run. Hats off to you, sir. Hope you enjoy your retirement. Also, football, there was a retirement. Greg Jennings has called it quits. Kind of crazy because when he was with Green Bay, he was looking all world, and then he decided to run for the money to Minnesota, and his career just tailed off, and it ended up in Miami where he was okay, but ultimately he was kind of fading out anyway. So he was smart, and besides, it was 10 years. 10 years is enough time. 10 years is definitely enough time to play. Leave while you're still relatively healthy. Um, Best thing to do. Hopefully he took care of his money, and I wish him well in his retirement. Now, with football being back, it's time to bring back fantasy football. So I will be posting a video soon on my other channel and on this channel discussing the fantasy football league. I will probably be doing a weekly football digest, perhaps even start a weekly sports show on this channel due to football returning. Because once football is back, we're just like a step closer from other major sports. I know baseball is going on right now, but I I don't know why I can't motivate myself to get really into baseball until about mid-August when the pennant races are heating up. Although this year it's been made interesting by the Chicago Cubs, who are all of a sudden trying to be world beaters. They traded for Chapman, the closer of the Yankees, which I was shocked the Yankees would trade him away. Uh, but I guess they needed to retool anyway because they've been flailing the last few years. So the Cubs are looking good, and it's such a weird fucking thing to think of the Cubs as like one of your top potential World Series contenders. No disrespect, Chicago, but you guys know how it goes. Cubs have been continually breaking the hearts of people in Chicago. I believe Northside is where they play at, so they particularly them. As the White Sox, they're not a pristine franchise right now themselves, but they're a lot closer to glory days than the Cubs. It's been well over 100 years since the Cubs have won something. Uh, Maybe not. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but yeah, the Cubs have not won a World Series. Definitely not in my lifetime. God rest his soul. I don't believe they did it in my mom's lifetime, and she died at the age of 70. Uh, God rest her soul. They may not have done it in my grandmother's lifetime. She died when she was in her 90s. Good Lord. Cubs fans. Ah, man. You poor guys. Hopefully this is the year for you. Good luck. You got a good closer to go with your high quality starting pitching, and You have some great bats. It's not out the realm that we might see the Cubs make that miracle run and break the curse of, oh, what's the name of the damn goat and the fire in Chicago and all that. Maybe that shit will be put to rest. Demons will be exercised, and you guys can celebrate. Olympics getting closer. USA basketball men's team have been crushing the hell out of people. They're building their chemistry, which is good. Get it together, guys, so you can make that run and try to get that other gold medal. Let my man Mike Krzyzewski go out on top, please. Please let him do. Speaking of which, kudos to Mike Krzyzewski for his reaction to North Carolina Senate and or state legislation passing that transgender bathroom law, which is really, really crazy. It's really affecting a lot of sports venues and events in the state of North Carolina. If you don't know, they passed a law where they will not allow a transgender person to go into a bathroom of the sex that they chose to be. If you were born a male or born a female, you must go to the bathroom that you were originally born as. Of course, private places don't have to adhere to this rule, so a Duke University wouldn't have to. But the thing is, this rule has been sparking a strong negative reaction from a lot of people. People like Bruce Springsteen refused to perform anymore in the state of North Carolina once it was brought up, because they don't want to be in a state that supports that type of prejudice and bigotry. And now, like, a lot of places in the sports world are following suit. Duke has lost out on tournament opponents, at least 2 or 3, and have to reschedule because of this, because certain schools refuse to travel to the state of North Carolina for anything that was not originally scheduled. They're not volunteering to appear in the events. It's like, if you're, say, Clemson, you're from South Carolina, but you play Duke because you're both in the ACC, they will honor that, but no team that isn't in the ACC is I'm not saying that everybody's canceling, but none of those teams that cancel are in the ACC, so therefore they don't feel compelled to, and anybody else who's not in the ACC can also follow suit. It's crazy. It's just crazy. And of course, the NBA decided, hey, Charlotte's supposed to get the All-Star game. We can't hold it there because we don't agree with this rule. So they pulled the All-Star game from the city of Charlotte. I believe they said it was something in the realm of $3 million that they would have made from that weekend for the city. So they've lost that money. The commissioner, he did say that Charlotte will be eligible again to be considered host as early as 2019. So he's not closing the idea of letting the city host. I think he's probably banking on the idea that this issue will be resolved, or that there'll be something to happen to revise it or something, but NBA's not coming there. So good on you, Governor of North Carolina, who responded really, really retardedly, making the claim that he's not, we're just being targeted by these elite businesses and all that, and their elitist ways. It's like, no, people don't actually sometimes want to be bothered in a situation where prejudice is involved. Oddly enough, there's probably some prejudices that have been, able to slide. I'm not going to go into a tyrannical rant on that, but sometimes it's just like, sometimes it's good when businesses take a stand and stuff like that. Because the best way you can get things like that to get changed is to fuck with the state's money. His constituents isn't going to like it. The residents aren't going to like it because that's money that could have helped to fix roads, put into the school system, et cetera, et cetera. That's money gone because of this stance, which is not really stupid. Because your stance is, if you were born a man but you become a woman, I want you to still go to the men's bathroom. Now, speaking from a heterosexual male's perspective, men already have awkwardness because I'm sure I have that awkwardness sometimes, but we already have an uncomfortable sense when a woman, an actual woman, comes into the bathroom. It kind of weirds us out, freaks us out. Ladies, you want to fuck with a guy really hard, walk into a men's public bathroom. You'll see guys squirm like shit. Some, of course, there's some guys who be like, "Hey, what's up?" thinking like the wrong thing, but for the most part, it's not a comfortable thing to have to be involved in as a man. That being said, I'm just curious as to how uncomfortable it's going to be when not only does someone who looks like a woman comes in, but then pulls out their penis. If they're pre-op, if they're not like fully transformed, they pull out their penis looking like a woman. That's going to disturb a lot of guys. It's going to make people uncomfortable, and that's going to lead to people who, like, for me, I would honestly say I would be weirded out. That being said, hey, that's that person's choice. I'm not going to knock them for it. There'll be some people who are not going to be just weirded out. They're going to respond in a really bad way. You may end up having something violent go down. Now, I'm not sure how women would react to someone who looks like a man come in, but is actually a woman. Although I gotta think that if a heterosexual man was to walk into a woman's bathroom, that wouldn't make a woman comfortable either. So I don't know. The reaction may not be as potentially dangerous with women, but there are some guys who they'll take that and they'll see this transgender person. They'll be down with the same prejudice that the governor and his people have, and they might act on it because people do some stupid shit. And I would hate to hear transgender male assaulted in a bathroom, because he's a woman now, and a couple of yokels decided to, beat him for his choice or something like that, or for, invading their privacy and making them feel uncomfortable. I don't want that. And you would have thought that the governor would have thought through stuff like that. Like, what's the potential dangers that we could have? Because there is a potential danger. People can react in some of the most stupidest ways, and someone may get hurt or worse because of this decision. So not only did you make a dumb decision that could lead to someone's life being in jeopardy, but you also made a dumb decision based on your own personal preferences as the head of a state. And that's not cool. That's not your job. Your job is to do what's in best interest for your citizens, for the people, your residents of North Carolina. I don't know how much this benefits those residents, but some people choose to use their political power like that. Politics is just crazy, just all around right now. We're in the midst of the Democratic National Convention. Oh, that means we're getting even more closer to the shit show of election, guys. And I guess this leads into the entertainment part, because the fucking Republican National Convention was a fiasco, but it was entertaining watching that mess because I've never seen so many like crazy delusional people at the same time. Democratic National Committee, conference is, I'm sorry, convention is just as crazy. Everybody's pushing hard for Hillary, even people who don't really care that much for her. But you know what? I respect them for like swallowing their pride and going that route because sadly, this is the situation that we're in where even if you aren't a fan of Hillary and you think that she is just as horrible a choice as Trump, one, she's not. Um, I think her her personality deficiencies coupled with the fact that everybody's darling lost to her makes her even more vilified than she should be. Not saying that she doesn't have her issues. Lord knows that woman does. But I think the vilification has gotten a little extra because, to be honest, Bernie Sanders supporters have turned into little children in a lot of ways and have been throwing fits about this. Now, we've heard that there were key members of the Democratic National Committee that were discussing through email on ways to stop him from winning, and there may have been tampering. Um, we don't have any confirmation. Of course, these days, all you need to know is, hey, they were emailing talking about, should we fuck with this dude? Oh, that's it. It's done. It's over. They did it. Probably not. They probably really wanted to, but I hate getting political sometimes because anyway, let's just blow through it because in truth, and I think I'll leave, if I can remember, I'll leave the link to a really good writer, Sean King for New York Times. He said it best. As much as he loves Bernie Sanders, you know what? I have a lot of respect for that guy. But he was like, as much as he loves Bernie Sanders and wanted him to win, and as much as he thinks that there were some unfair things that went on in his run, he also believes that even if all things were fair and equal, Bernie couldn't win because he couldn't get the votes. He couldn't draw enough people to his side. And I think that's ultimately why he lost too, is that his campaign, his idea of attacking the people who he decided to join and not showing more open disdain than a willingness to try to work with them to solve their problems and the nation's problems, kind of hurt to where it was hard to rally people around you other than the public. Because in truth, he needed the Democratic National Party to have his back. He knew that himself. He wouldn't have become a Democratic candidate if he didn't think he needed them to be successful. That's why he's not an independent anymore. But it is what it is. He realized, hey, I lost. I don't like it, and I still have issues. But even he has been, open-minded and, well, I shouldn't say open-minded, but clear-minded enough to see the big picture and say, you know what? I don't like either of these people, but there is a much greater evil. And that greater evil is something that could be very devastating to this country. Again, say what you will about Hillary. She's not as evil as you think. I think at best, she will just take us back to square root status quo type things. So it's like nothing will change, but I don't think anything will get worse under her presidency. With Donald Trump, my God, it's like that would be a nightmare. The national ramifications, both of those would be fucking devastating. This guy does not care He's running to satiate his ego. He has no willingness to actually govern. He said himself he's not worried because he'll let other people take care of things that he doesn't understand, which is everything. Um he's a bigot. He's kind of a racist. He's a sexist. He's the xenophobe. He's a maniac. And to let a megalomaniac who's lazy, untrustworthy, and just plain despicable be president because you want to throw a shit fit that Bernie didn't win? No, Bernie's not dumb. He knows that, hey, I didn't get it this time because, hey, guess what, people? He can still run again. Think about that. It's not like this is it. He'll never run. So shut up. But he knows, like, yo, we got to avoid a potentially nasty, disgusting future. And if I have to side with the lesser of two evils, you know what? Damn it, I will, because that other evil is probably the greatest evil that we've ever had in our way. And let's be fair. We like to throw jabs at the Democrats and the Republicans and all the things that they do. But part of the reason is kind of like the stance that people who support Bernie are taking now, how I'm not going to vote because Bernie didn't win. You know, this childish cross your arms and hold your breath because I didn't get what I want type reaction that we're getting from people. Yes, you're being fucking childish and petty. It's part of the problem is that you're not taking things serious enough. You're fucking ready to sit on your hands because you didn't get your way. This is the thing. The public does stuff like this. We, as the people who are supposed to have a say on who governs us, don't take that shit seriously or as responsible as we should. You know, a lot of people who don't act in that childish manner, they just don't give a fuck. They only care when there's a presidential election, or they don't care about that either. They don't look at local elections. They don't look at congressional elections, which is probably the biggest election you should always look at, because Congress has to vote on any idea that the president puts forth. The president can set an agenda and give, his ideals, have his cabinet members and whatnot put together a bill, and people who are on the side in Senate put together bills to be put into the law. But if Congress doesn't vote it into law, don't give a fuck what the president wants. He ain't getting it. He could try the executive order route, but we saw how when Obama did the executive order with gun control issue, they batted that shit down. No, who are you? You can't just do that. We check you. That's how it works. And people don't look at the people who check the leader of the free nation, this guy who's supposed to be the most powerful man in the country. We just look at him like he's the president. Let's vote for the president, because the president will do what the president wants. No, don't do that. It don't work that way. You need to be involved in all facets of the government. And you know what? A friend put it in a great way, that part of the problem with people like Bernie Sanders, independents, is that they tend not to try to build their base in other places. These independent, more progressive thinkers need to start running for mayor, or first run for councilman. We need y'all on the councils. Do well in the council, bump yourselves up to mayor. Do well as that, bump yourself up to state legislation. Do well in that, start growing a independent, progressive thinking base. Not just try to go for the gusto and get the presidency. We need, if you want real progressive thinking, start looking at small dudes in, your county, in your township, and things like that, who might be independent, who has an agenda that appeals to you, and vote. God damn it, vote. That's the thing. That's the biggest things that people always have so much fucking shit to say about how the political state of this country is. But I guarantee you, I'm gonna be nice and say 70% of the people who have the most to say about politics don't even participate. And those are the people who need to shut the fuck up because they're not even taking action to try to make things right. They're not even getting involved on any level. They're just talking shit because things aren't the way that they think it should be. But you know what? You're not making that effort to make things the way that you think they should be. So how dare you fucking open your goddamn mouth and try to tell us what's wrong or how things should be or how, like, you know, we're stupid because we actually get involved and your dumbass sits on your hands and just complains all the time. Shut the fuck up. Sorry, I had to get that out because me and a friend were talking about that earlier. It bothers me because that's what we do. And it's like, this is why we're in the state that we are, because you know what? As time has gone on, people didn't get involved. People have gotten more lazy. You know, such a small percentage of this country actually votes. That's a fucked up thing. Like Obama's first victory was one of the largest election totals. I think it was the largest election total, and it was a fraction. It was just a fraction of this country's populace. It wasn't even 50% of the populace. That's sad. That's fucking sad that less than 50% of the populace is a record in voting. Fucking disgusting. But that's the way it is. And that's why things have gotten to the point now where we're in a nightmares type situation where it's not even, you can't even say it's a good versus evil thing. It's a bad versus worse for a lot of people. And you know what? This is what happens when you don't get involved and you don't really take shit serious. And I swear to God, all those people who were screaming, I'm not voting because shit's broken, you know what? You're just going to really keep perpetuating a nightmare. So get over yourselves, grow the fuck up, and start being more involved. Okay? Start paying attention to things and do better. We have to do much better, people. You want to avoid the situation? Do better. That's all I have to say. Woo! Now, lighter, entertaining news: wrestling has been off the hook. Yes, still on. WWE had a great pay-per-view in Battleground. Great matches. It's funny because I thought at first the first half was going to be all top heavy, but then they had some really good matches in the what I thought were lesser card matches afterwards, like the Cena Enzo Cass versus the Club was entertaining as hell. Those guys could talk their ass off. They're not the greatest workers in the ring, but still the show was really good. AJ Styles, as always, he helps carry the hell out of the match. Anderson and Gallows did their thing as well. Cena's been putting on good performances. Like, if you hate Cena's, you know, sorry, I'm not the biggest Cena fan either, but I have to give him his props. He's been putting on. Roman Reigns, the guy everybody loves to hate. Tremendous match with Seth and Dean. Their chemistry off the hook. Great match. You know, it wasn't the best match. I thought Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn was ridiculously good. That shit right now contends for match of the year. But overall solid show. It's going to be interesting to see how things go now that the brand split and they're trying to come up with a new belt and all that. they're trying. At least they're trying. It seems to me because I was down on the brand split, but after watching Raw, it's funny. I have on SmackDown in the background. Uh, but after watching Raw, I do have to admit that I think their presentation is trying to make a turn back towards a more, hey, look, we know everybody knows shit's quote unquote fake and all that. Um, Again, I say quote unquote only because the shit they do in the ring is not fake. But yeah, the storylines are made up. Um, that being said, it's getting back to being like, look, we're still gonna pretend like this is kind of real because we're gonna make the storylines more believable. The action in the ring, try to make that more presentable. Put more production value towards wrestling. I dig it. I hope they like go ahead and do that more. That's what I felt like they did with that pay-per-view. Hopefully this will carry over to the shows. They had some great matches on Raw, so we'll see. We'll see. That's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave the editorial out this match only because, to be quite honest, I think I gave you guys the editorial when I talked about the political state of things. Because straight up, guys, seriously, get yourselves more involved in things. I know there's a lot of politicians out there that are, you know, pretty disgusting. That being said, there are good people. If you would try to at least find the good people and try to, push them, be vocal about them, you know, things can change. It's support them. You know, you just have to be more active, not just talk shit. It's easy to just talk shit. I took off early to go vote in the fucking primary, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't vote in the primaries because nobody, it's the primaries. People seem to think that the only thing to vote in is the fucking goddamn presidential election. There's so many other things. And like on the primaries, it wasn't just about the presidential election. There's referendums that affect how shit runs in your city, like whether or not you're going to pay more taxes is kind of on there. And you bitch about your state taxes or your county taxes. Guess what? If you went out to these like election polls and read into this stuff and saw, you realize, there's a lot of shit that's out there that's gonna affect me. Yeah, seriously, yeah. Be more involved, people. That's the editorial. Be more involved. I just want to reiterate that. Yes, you need to be more involved, and if you're not going to involve yourself, you just need to just shut the fuck up and let things be. Anyway, that is it. Again, you can check us out on Stitcher, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Subscribe there, please. If you do subscribe to iTunes, please give us a 5-star review. That puts us out there more so people can find the podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter at WiseGuy.gse. You can email us if you have any questions or suggestions at WiseGuy.gse at gmail.com. And you can follow us on Facebook at WiseGuy.gse as well. Again, thanks to Just Read, our sponsor. Thank you to everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel, who is a part of the Patreon page, who have subscribed to all of the audio podcast format sites. We appreciate the support. Keep supporting us. We're going to keep growing. The Wise Guy Cast will be back. I think that's why I keep messing up the name, because I've been working on getting interviews together. The website will be up soon too. I'm still trying to work on that. Personal stuff keeps getting in the way with that, but it's not going to be a problem soon. And his point of view, of course, will be back. Co-host has been a little under the weather, shall we say. So it's okay. I'm throwing shade towards her. She gonna get her shit together. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so only when she feels better, we'll get that back in ranks. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff. I didn't even go into half of it in my rants here, but yeah, that's pretty much it, people. So thank you again. Always appreciate your time. Hope you enjoy, and we'll see you next time on the Wise Guy Digest. Peace.